Okay, hi. This is digital storytelling number 2, and it's about Old Town Krakow / the guest house, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. And so this was at the beginning of our trip, and I was so jet lagged when we got there, and it was the first place we were staying, and everything was different, everything was new, and you're just noticing every little thing that's different. And the guest house was great. It's never what anybody can expect, and I mean, it was homey, but it wasn't like a hotel in America. And we had everything we needed, but at the same time, it's your minimum. But I mean, that's okay, because you get used to it, and I try to go with the flow and get used to things, so that wasn't that bad. The food was great, and after the first couple days, everybody was ready, everybody was getting to know everybody, and we were calling it, home, like you do when you're traveling anywhere. You say, oh, let's go home, meaning going back to the guest house, and I was at least so ready to get back at night and go to sleep, especially because of the jet lag and because we kept going. I didn't have any time to be by myself and do anything, it was do whatever we were doing all day, and then eat, and then come back and go to bed. And those first couple nights I slept really well, and so the guest house was good, and I couldn't wait to get to the main square of Krakow. But yeah, first day we explored. We walked down the huge hill, which might have been a mistake. I know a majority of us did, but then we realized we had to climb back up, and it was hot. And we tried to explore a little bit, but there wasn't really anything. There was just some houses, and so we went back up. But it took. Then the next day we were just had class all day, which that was, I don't know. I mean, we were still tired, but I was ready to go and get out and do anything, everything, especially the main square. And when we finally got there, I know I went crazy taking pictures, which I will post with this. And even like the side streets, like I would go and stop and take every 10 feet, take pictures on both sides all the way around and look behind. And it was just so amazing, and it's just such a big open space. I know it's kind of touristy with all the cafes and everything, but that's what it is. But I love Cloth Hall. I got a lot of souvenirs, and Cloth Hall is just this huge, massive thing in the middle of it all, and it's full of stuff you can buy. And who doesn't like to buy stuff and buy a bunch of souvenirs? I know I did buy a lot of souvenirs, and yeah. But I love the square. I love being on the square. We kept going back, and not just the square, just like just the atmosphere of the square, and it's busy and there's so much going on, and then you have the history within that and stuff underground, as I found out later, and just like the buskers and the street performers and the carriage rides, everything. It was just awesome. But and it's not just the main square, it's everything around it, the streets with all the shops. And my group found the gate to the outside with and the walls on the outside of the castle, and then the scavenger hunt. We found the head of the Greek god on its side, and the poet. What else was there? The clock tower was great. The water pump too. And so, there's it's all the history. I mean, it's obviously a historical main square, and they keep it, it's pretty well preserved, and they keep it well, it's well kept, but, I mean, they let you can walk anywhere, and you can go anywhere. That's, yeah, so, even though it's in use, there's lots of use, it still, it withstands everything, all the tourists and all the other stuff that's going on. It was meant to last. It was built to last. And so all the things that have been remembered are the statues and the monuments. They're historical, very importantly historical to Poland and the people and everything, just the history and the histories of just everything. I don't know, I can't explain it. Like the poet was just a famous poet, and I don't know, I didn't really get any background on that, but everything that's remembered, it's remembered for a reason, because it's significant. And then the other thing is who decides why things are memorialized, or all that. And I mean, I guess it's the people and the history and some of the greatest, like the greatest advances, like the greatest the things that people overcome, and that are the most well known. There's always something that is left behind, and is preserved as a part of the history, because you don't want to forget it, and you have to let everybody else know, and everybody learn from it. And so who decides? I mean, whoever makes the memorial or any of that, but they do it for a good reason. And like, I mean, maybe some obscure things are remembered, but along the lines, maybe something like for example, the guy who plays the melody out of the window out of the church every hour, or the multiple people, they do it. And even though it's a legend, it's a great legend, and it's memorable, and it's really unique, and it just adds to all the history, even though it's probably not true from what everybody was saying. And but it's still a great thing, and I liked it, so I loved the square. I did. And I mean, even though it's like touristy, I mean, I didn't feel unsafe. That was another thing. Like, I thought it would be, I wouldn't feel safe, but I did, like, for most of the trip. So, yeah. I think that is all.